Great news. You've been shortlisted. Woo.
Hi, friends. Sorry.
Hi. You're good. Gabby's figuring things out. Lloyd went to go get a drink of water. I ate cheese. So if
Oh,
I
great.
leave, and beans, I had beans and cheese today. So just so you know, I'll just leave it right there for you to just use your imagination. My stomach is
I
like,
literally just drank coffee before I stepped into the booth. So
Great.
good old quad shot, you know.
we're gonna have to keep Lloyd definitely on track this time. Anyways, I'm so happy you guys are here. I want to give you like virtual squeezes or hugs or
Yeah. Happy
something.
New Year.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
I know it's like the first week of 2024, so I was really excited about getting just us, because we've had a lot of guests coming on. And we've obviously rebranded and rebooted and smushed two podcasts together and done all these fun things. And it's been like a minute since we've all been together, and I just thought it would be fun to just have a just us episode and kind of recap on 2023, maybe share some wins. We can even, touch on some lows, because obviously we are always trying to keep it real and share all of our ups and downs in real time as we go through like our whole process of life and being voiceover and on camera actors. So, with that, and then I'd love to share some takeaways and then just really kind of looking into 2024, like what our goals are. So this is on record. So anything you say will
Be held against you.
will be documented. So I don't know who wants to start. I mean, I'm
Should
happy
we
to
pick a
start.
name? Or go ahead. Start us
No,
off, Jocelyn.
no. Let's go in order. We'll go alphabetical. Angela can go order.
Okay.
Dang it.
Oh. Love being
I
in
have
charge
like
of the alphabet.
flashbacks of like being in like middle school and they're like, it's time for you to read. Angela, you first. Start it. I'm not ready. I didn't pre-read.
Oh, no.
Meanwhile, I'm a W and an L. Love
Oh,
it.
yeah. So yeah, you're over there.
Yeah.
You don't have to go if you don't want to.
No, it's fine. I just wasn't prepared with like all my.
We can go from last to first.
Okay, we
We
can
don't
go
have
last.
to. We
We
don't
can
have
go.
to do that.
We'll go last to first. We'll reorder.
No, we'll
it.
just
Okay.
keep up with tradition. We'll start
Yeah, tradition
A,
is
B,
fine.
C, D, E.
It's
And-
fine. It's fine. I just wasn't completely prepared. As far as
Are
wins
you
go,
ever prepared?
no, absolutely not. Ever.
Being
That's why we
prepared
love
is
you.
overrated.
That should be
Right?
my
Yeah.
resolution, actually. Matter of fact, great idea.
You're welcome. Write it
Be
down.
more prepared. No, I think as far as wins go for me in the voiceover world, I think I'm really proud that I was able to have clients come back to me. Like once,
Yeah.
a lot of times when you're in the voiceover world, you'll do a gig and that's the last you ever hear of people, and sometimes, it does take a little bit of, legwork to be like, hey, is everything good? Do you need me to revoice anything? Stuff like that. But for the most part, I was blessed to have my clients come back to me right away. Like it was, coming up on the year and they hit me up, hey, Angela, we got to update this. And, are you available? And I'm like, yeah, totally. So I took that as a win. My
Yeah.
clients are coming
That's very
back to
good.
me.
That's
So
awesome.
that's cool. As far as like losses, I guess, I took some hard lessons over over the last couple of years as far as like, making sure I'm working with the right people.
Mhm.
And I think for me, it was hard for me to really nail down a perfect schedule so that I am auditioning constantly and making sure that my voice is out there and doing my marketing properly and stuff like that. So
Right.
I did lack in that area, which honestly, to begin with, I think that's where I was going to lack anyway. But for the most part, I think it's just, you roll with it. You roll with the punches. You roll with how you find your own workflow and how you work around other little things that pop up that you weren't expecting. So, I think that's something I should work on next
Yeah.
year is, my workflow and making sure that I'm, doing my auditions like I should be.
It's like the job, right? Like that's
Yeah,
part
it
of
is the
voiceover.
job.
But you have life too. Like you
Yeah.
moved and you had
yeah.
like family
Family
and
stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and you've taken on an
Mhm.
additional job outside of voiceover too, a
Right.
couple of jobs.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, you
Yeah,
always
and-
have a vision. You always have a vision, and sometimes that vision gets altered. But
gotta
yeah.
adjust it. Yeah.
Those are wins too. Like everything that you were doing outside of the booth. Hey,
Mhm.
those are big wins too.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's funny because like you know, I didn't see it as a win. I was just like, I need some extra income. Not that I don't love voiceover and not that it can't make you enough money to survive, but for me coming from a stable paycheck every
Mhm.
single month for the last 15 years, it was hard for me to go into the voiceover world because it's just what's the word here? Like
Inconsistent?
it's inconsistent. Yeah, it's very
Starving artist is
inconsistent.
like a real
Yes.
thing.
Yes. So when I did take on these other gigs, I just thought of it as money. And then when I started talking to you guys about it, you're like, oh, that totally rolls into voiceover. That rolls into like live announcing. And I'm like, oh, it does. So it's great, you know, to have those other people on the outside to kind of be like, oh, it does work for you, Angela. It's just not, you know, some gig you're picking up for the heck of it, because that's what I
Right.
thought it was at first. And then now, you know, talking to you guys, I'm like, oh, I still am doing voiceover stuff. I'm practicing in a different way, obviously.
Yeah.
But
When
yeah,
you're
more
reading
stuff.
to kids out loud, you know, you're
Hmm.
supposed to read every day. So that's
Yeah.
like, you know, you're
Oh,
basically
yeah.
practicing. So
And with the kids, you know, you have to do some funny voices here and there and make sure that they, you know,
yeah.
keep their attention. But then, you know, on the flip side, the wedding announcing stuff, you know, doing
Yeah,
live
live
announcements in
announce.
front of crowds, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a lot of voiceovers, you know, dreams to be that big voice, but it was something that just popped up and I took the opportunity and it made sense more than
It's
I knew.
it's amazing. So if we ever hear you live announcing at the Grammys,
Right.
Oh,
we'll
man.
know.
One day.
Like, I know her.
Honestly,
I know that voice.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book right now that's called The Artist's Way. And one thing that really stuck to me, I'm reading and listening to the book, so it depends on my mood. But she says, like, leap and just know that there's going to be a net, right? So it's
Yeah,
like sometimes like these
I like that.
opportunities pop up and you just have to kind of like go with it, you know, because you have to
Hmm.
and you know, just have to see where it takes you.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
have to
definitely.
eat too. So there's like
Oh
that
yeah,
and
for
pay
sure.
bills.
For sure. For sure. That's the main point there.
So the
Right.
takeaway is be careful about who you work with and vet your clients
Definitely.
and try to keep on schedule, set a schedule with auditions.
For me, yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Vet
right.
your clients and maintain a good schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that also is said, like when you have other things going outside in your life, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do 15 to 20 auditions a day. That could
Yeah.
be, okay, this week I'm going to do 3 or 2 or, you
Right.
know,
Right.
like you
Which
could
is a
set.
bright side to the whole, you know, being your own boss kind of
Mhm.
deal. You know, if I don't have time this week, I can't make it or do the 15 auditions like I'm supposed to, 20 auditions, you know, it's fine. But
Yeah.
you know, to be consistent in voiceover, it starts with your auditions. You really got to be consistently auditioning and practicing and reading every day and doing all that. And yes, I lacked on that. I'll be honest. I was lacking.
That's okay.
I
It's a
feel it.
new year. It's a
Yeah,
new
it's a new
year.
year.
It's a new year.
But yeah.
Gabby? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Angela.
We're gonna
Woo.
celebrate your wins.
And what you learned from, because that's
Yeah,
how you
it's
grow.
part of the process. Yeah.
Part of
Exactly.
like starting your own business. You just have to
Hmm.
learn and grow as you go.
Oh my God.
Gabby.
Yeah. Like I learned all about quoting. Oh my
Oh
Ugh,
my
God.
God.
quotes.
Ah. Especially when it's so like, I want this, but I want that, and knowing this, and it's like, seriously, you couldn't just like specifically like pick one thing? Okay.
Hmm.
So I learned how to quote because I was having a tough time with that when I had to quote, and Jocelyn was kind enough to help me out of that one.
That was a learning lesson for me too, though, you know, figuring
It
that
was,
out. Yeah.
yeah. Oh my God, yeah. And
That's a
because
win too, because that was a bulk order. So like she
it
had her
was a
first
bulk
bulk
order.
order.
I had my
Nice.
first bulk order, but I like, you know, when I got it, I was freaking out. I was like, "Oh, well, how do I quote it? And should I quote it like this?" And then I was looking at different types of rate cards, which like none of them make sense, but they all make sense at the same time. Like it's so crazy.
The Wild
So I
West.
was like, Jocelyn, I need help. Can you help me? Can I send you the quote that and you know, we were just like trying to figure it out so that it could be so I'm not like giving myself like
The short end of the
the
stick.
short
Yeah.
end of the
Yeah.
stick,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but at the
yeah.
same time being fair to the client, right? And being
Hmm.
competitive with all the other voiceover talents. So
Mhm.
that and what was cool about that was that I actually did get booked.
Yes.
Congrats.
She got
Awesome.
booked.
I
Yes.
did, but it
And
was
you have to
crazy.
share. Isn't it? It's
So
Spanish and English, and there's another part to that.
yeah, it's in Spanish and it's in English. I don't have to translate or anything, but
Oh,
because
okay.
they already had the but I did have the translation fee added to the quote. I didn't have to
Nice.
translate. I did have to translate for a different client, so I now have this like translation fee in my quote, which is
Heck
pretty
yeah.
cool.
I love that.
But okay, so going back to the big project, the crazy thing was I was in Vancouver. We just got back a couple days ago. Is that New Year's? New
Yeah.
Year's. And while I was there, they were like, "We need to do a live directed audition for you." And I was like, "What? Okay,
That
um,
always happens.
what?" So I had already done an audition for them, but they wanted a live directed audition because, yeah, I don't know. And
Yeah.
so while I'm in Vancouver, like I'm literally up in the snowy mountains going like, "Oh my God, I gotta find a studio like by tomorrow."
Oh
That's
my
like a whole
gosh.
thing. That's like a whole thing.
It was a whole thing. And so I'm like trying to get quotes here and there. And then I remembered that there's this guy that I met on Instagram who we all know. And I took one of his classes during the pandemic and kind of kept in touch with him. And so I remembered that he was Canadian. And so I asked for help. I asked for help. I was like, "Dude, I
Mhm.
need your help. I need you to recommend a studio." And he's like, "Well, all of them are 125 or more for an hour.
Yeah.
Plus 125 because you need to use Source Connect."
Sheesh.
And I was like, "Oh
like-
my God." And I told him like, "This is just for like a live audition. Like it's just an audition. Like I don't even know if I'm gonna get booked." And so he offered me his home studio for a much cheaper price.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
really cool because he's an on-camera and voice actor, and I mean, for him to open up his booth in
Mhm.
his studio for
Yeah.
you,
Oh my
that's like,
God. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know
Luckily, he's also a mentor and he's also
a
a
coach.
coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he did tell me like whenever he has students in need or like one of his friends or whatnot, he'll like
voiceover.
he'll
Someone
rent
from the
out his
community.
studio. Yeah. So,
Love it.
but yeah, he saved my butt. So
And then
That
you got
was ex-
booked. So it's
And then
and
you
then I
booked
got
it.
well, I found out that day at the end of the session that I booked it,
Nice.
and they reached out to me yesterday and they were like, "We need to do a recording with you on Monday." And I was like, "All right."
In
So
person?
here's the problem. No.
Oh.
I could do Source Connect and everything here. The only problem I have is that they want to record on Monday in the morning. All of my neighbors, like this neighbor over here and this
Oh
neighbor and the
God.
front of me, they're all constructing at the same
oh
time.
no.
Oh no.
So right now I'm recording at night because I got so much noise going on. And so I reached out to a studio here. There's not a lot. There's not a lot of them here in Merida, because it's not that common. And so I reached out to one, but the guy hadn't used Source Connect in 5 years. And I was like, "Well, we can give it a shot." And so today I went to do like a sound check, and we contacted the production studio and everything. It was bad, guys. It
Oh
was bad.
Oh
no.
no.
So
We
what's
couldn't hear each other. It was awful. I was sweating and I was like, "Oh my God, this is like the worst." And I was talking to sorry, we can take that out. I was talking to the client,
your
and I was like,
contact?
"Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And the thing is, I have so much construction going on around like in my neighborhood that it's impossible for me to record during the day because you can hear everything.
Right.
And I thought this guy was gonna be able to solve it, and there's not a lot of studios here in Merida. But what I can do is I can fly out there, and so tomorrow I'm leaving for Vegas.
Oh my God.
Holy cow.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
So is the client in Vegas then? Is that what I'm
Yes.
hearing? Okay, awesome. So you'll just go to their particular studio then. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's
Good.
I mean,
yeah.
you fly everywhere and travel all over the place. So that's like a hop, skip, and a jump for you,
For sure.
like,
Yeah,
so
which is what I told
a
her. I'm
big
like,
client,
it's not a
too.
problem. It's a big client. And I'm like, it's not a problem for me to like, I just got back from a trip. I can go. And she's like, "Are
Yeah.
you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "All right." I just talked to my boss. He's giving it a green light. And I'm like, "All right."
Well,
Okay.
you used to live in Vegas too, so it's not
Mhm.
like you
Yeah.
aren't familiar with that. That's like exciting, and that's kind of like a real life, like real world, experience.
Yeah, it
So
could happen
Yes.
to anybody, any
yeah,
voiceover.
you got to take like that's like the takeaway for you is you got to be flexible and
Mhm.
don't be afraid to reach out to your voiceover community to
Yeah.
ask
Yeah.
for help,
Ask for
and
help.
sometimes you have to be flexible yourself and problem solve
Yeah.
and
And have a
be
good credit card.
Yeah,
and go above and
totally.
beyond.
Boy.
Totally, totally.
Like,
Well,
I'm
yeah.
also taking away that you might need to open up a sound studio
yes.
in
Oh
your
my God.
location if that's the thing,
That's
'cause,
Oh,
a
I mean,
really good
that's
idea.
really good idea. Yeah.
just a thought.
That's a really good thought.
I'm loving that. I'm loving that
Yeah.
one.
You could maybe create one in your house. You never know. I mean, that would be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
her
I'd
if the construction ever lets up.
Well, that's true.
Oh
But
my
if it's
God.
like, if it's like the triple walled, like
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
George the
Yeah.
Tech or whatever to help you create it or
And
something.
it's so different construction here in Mexico than what it is in the States. So here they work with bricks and like cement and
You have that
there's
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
hardly
Lots
any
of
there's no wood basically
yeah.
or drywall.
Yeah.
They
Well,
don't use that here. So these machines are like
Yeah. Loud.
and
yeah.
Super loud.
your one other client that you did the translation, so you did Spanish and English. Let's not forget that. That was through a networking
Yeah.
opportunity. So you booked on an organic networking
So
opportunity.
I do have to give a shout out to Jocelyn because
Why?
I feel like
What?
none of these would have been possible without you.
Oh,
Because
well.
you're the one who contacts all these guests to come onto the podcast, and it was because they were on the podcast and they got to meet me that they reached out to me.
That I guess that would be possible. Yeah, that's
Toot your
probably
horn, Josh. Just toot your horn.
toot
Toot toot.
toot. It's all
Definitely.
about networking and connecting, right? I mean,
Mhm.
and it's like you hope that like people can connect and find something good and whether it's you or a friend and that's the two examples of exactly that.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
speechless.
Awesome. So cool.
Now I just have to get the one guy who helped me out in Canada to come on to the podcast.
Yes, he would be so interesting. Oh my gosh. Like he would be like a really cool guest. So
Yeah, he's really cool
because you
too.
said we all know them. I'm like, who is it?
I know, I'm playing Guess Who in my head. I really am. Does he wear glasses?
no,
No.
Oh, okay.
he's
Does he
a
have gray
pretty
hair?
he's, are we
No.
allowed to give clues?
No.
I don't know.
He plays guitar.
That narrows it down.
I'll tell you guys at the end.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's right.
Okay, so that's those are some big wins. And I think
Yes,
that's like
congrats.
a good lesson
you.
for everybody too, like to learn from like real life experiences. Traveling, if you travel, another takeaway is be prepared to have like travel gear or wherever you're going, make sure like maybe
yeah.
ahead of
Mhm.
time find a studio,
Yeah.
like a couple studios, if you
Yeah, I'm
can't.
already making my little list of like studios international.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's good. All right, Lloyd, do you want to go or do you want me to go? Are we, I guess I'm next, right?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
You're next. You got it.
Okay, I got it. I know, because we got to keep with the time too. We got to stay on track. I guess like my big wins, well, I had some lows. With the scamming stuff in the beginning of the year that almost
Oh,
took
yeah.
the wind right out of my sails. It actually did, but I bounced back really quickly and I didn't lose any money. I lost a lot of sleep and stress. And yeah, that was uncomfortable. And it's been a lot of hard work getting to where I am right now. A lot of days in the booth, a lot of auditions every day, and recognizing that there are people that started after me and are a lot farther ahead of me, or it happened a lot quicker for them than me, and maybe I've spent less money and time training and getting to where I am, but there is a process for each individual, and we all have our own path, and I am okay with that. Like, I am happy with exactly who I am and where I'm going and what I'm doing, and I just have, like, my takeaway is I just know I have to sometimes work a little bit harder, and sometimes it has nothing to do with hard work, it just has to do with timing,
Mhm.
and being consistently consistent day in and day out.
Yep.
And I've had some ups and I've had some downs. My big wins is I booked like a handful of national clients underneath my belt now. So I'm very, very excited for voiceover.
Awesome. And on screen.
And on camera, I've booked now, and I have a reoccurring client.
Awesome.
So, for on camera, they just booked me for 2 more commercials. I just found that out today. So I'm
Good for
going.
you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And it's in fitness, so it kind of like fits. I'm starting to also unfold like what works for my voice, right? And I had a bucket list client, Angela and Gabby. When we first started training, this is in the jewelry section, and it's out there in the wild, so I can say it. But I always wanted to do luxury and jewelry, and we used to practice with scripts like that when we first started. And
Yeah.
I booked the Mar Azzurro holiday collection through Levion, who partnered with
Wow.
Jared Jewelry. So
Oh, wow.
that's out there in the world, and
Which is crazy because when we used to practice, I remember you said, I cannot do luxury. My voice
Really?
Yeah.
does
I remember
not
that
fit
too.
this,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And you booked it. You did it.
and apparently my voice is good for this is a takeaway, is good for murder, meditation,
Ooh, why
And
did you start
luxury.
with murder?
luxury. I've done a lot of audiobooks, and they
Is
always
that
end
the
up
order in which you
No,
book things?
Right.
Yeah.
Because I remember you booking
creepy. Like yeah, my voice
Yeah.
is very.
scary.
I've had a lot of like thriller, creepy,
Yeah.
criminal. Like it's good for horror, I guess, which is fine, especially when I go into my book.
Suspenseful.
Suspenseful. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luxury and murder. It's fine.
I
It's
mean,
good.
it goes hand in hand. It really does.
I mean, it did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean-
It does.
I'm making light of the whole situation, but I was really happy, and that particular client, came back to me and was like, "Hey, we want to book you again," and it didn't come through, but just knowing that they came back to
Mhm.
me to book me again and hoping that they will
Yeah.
come back. So that's always really, that's always really exciting. Like you're talking about, Angela, the
Yeah.
reoccurring client. So, yeah, and I got an agent. My goal
Yay.
was to was to sign with a voiceover agent by the end of this year, and I pulled it out at the
Rock
end
on.
by the skin of my teeth. But I'm very happy. I'm with AB Squared it's an LA agent, and I'm gonna give a little
Fancy.
shout out to them because I am super excited to be with them. And like your first agent just kind of like sits a little different, like it's
Yeah.
just like, hi, I love you.
That's too cool. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
I want to
Yeah,
say that there you were talking about just like the timing and stuff and being persistent. And it's funny because as everyone knows, I'm not really keeping up with the WhatsApp right now, and we'll get into that.
Mhm.
But
Me neither.
I'm
Nick.
pretty positive I saw you got on a roster
I did.
recently, and this particular
A coveted
roster,
roster.
I remember you being very frustrated about like almost a year ago. You're like, I submitted and I haven't heard anything.
Oh.
And and I just keep doing it and I don't hear anything. And I'm just like, just keep
Consistency. So that's another thing I
Mm.
wanted. My takeaway for this year is this: that if I've learned anything, if I can share any like golden nugget of like my takeaway for this year is consistently be consistent. Like I did apply for that roster probably like too soon, maybe like a year and a half ago. And then it came back on my radar with our social group on the WhatsApp. And I thought, oh, what the hell? I'll submit again. And within a couple days or a week, they put me on the roster, and I've been getting auditions from them regularly.
Rock
Yeah,
on.
because a lot
That's
of
awesome.
production rosters, sometimes it's like here and there, and you
Mhm.
want to be on a bunch of them because you don't know who's going to send you what. So they've been consistently sending me stuff. I haven't booked with them yet. That's the goal for 2024, but we'll get into
Soon.
that soon. So, yeah, I was really excited about that.
Too
That,
cool.
that is a
Awesome.
coveted production roster that we've all know about. So,
Congratulations.
thank
Awesome.
you.
Yeah.
I feel it's like feels weird like sharing because it feels a little like toot 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 toot. But at the
Mm-mm.
same time,
No.
I think my underlying message is that like there are going to be people that are like get much further in life much quicker with a lot less work and time and energy and money put into it, and the blood, sweat, and tears. But if you want to do something and you want to do this on camera, voice acting, or be a creative, write a book, whatever you want to do, dig in your heels, set your mind to it, be consistently consistent, and just keep on putting one foot in front of the other, and just keep on keeping on, because
Mhm.
if you want it, and other people are doing it, then you can do it too. That's my
Mhm.
takeaway. Like,
That's true.
and manifesting like that, knowing that if other people are doing it, then you can do it too,
Yeah.
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 I don't think it's so much like the tooting your own horn because I mean we talked to each other throughout this whole year and we've seen each other's struggles. Like we've been there presently as you're
Mhm.
talking about it and you're going through it. And so I think Joss, you even heard me cry at one point.
Yeah.
For all of us, I'm
So
sure.
it's we've been there. So it's nice to like do a recap because it's kind of like, wow, like when I thought I was at my worst,
Mhm.
I was able to get myself up
And get through it.
and keep
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, on my side hustle, like, you're talking about your side hustle, Angela, and like maybe your potential like side hustle with your studio, Gabby. Like I had, part of my side hustle was production clients. So I was bringing on production clients. I was, bringing on podcasting clients. So I was helping other people create their own podcasts. And that was my side hustle to bring in income while I was building my voice acting and on camera stuff. And I lost 3 clients. They fell off for like various reasons. One, I'm a little bit devastated about, but I'm like, no answers is always troubling. So that's a little bit of a loss. Getting ghosted, it doesn't feel good, especially in business, and then
Yeah.
my other 2 podcasting clients, they just had other things going on in life and it just wasn't going to work out. So, also having to understand that maybe I might need to go out and get a job, and
Mhm.
to bring in some income while I'm still building my career. But yeah, I'm a little bit on the struggle bus right now because I have a potential job lined up in a health and wellness center. That's not too far from my house and it's really good money. Everything in Florida takes forever and nobody's like consistently consistent. So it drives me
Mhm.
nuts and nobody follows the rules, especially the driving rules or the speed limits because it's Florida.
Florida
But
man's a meme for a reason.
it's the real thing. But just before I go off on a tangent, I'm considering taking this job because, it would bring me a regular income and it would bring me the experience and get me out there meeting people too. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's right up in my alley, health and fitness and wellness, that's kind of my thing. So, I'm not like an uber buff person, but like, I like all that stuff. So, I'm considering taking a job, but it's hard. It's hard when it's hard to weigh out like what's best for you, and now I'm gonna
Mhm.
have to recalibrate going into 2024. I'm gonna have to recalibrate like, okay, what days am I gonna do my auditions? Am I gonna like Lloyd has probably done before and all of you guys have probably done like, do I get up in the morning and do them? Do I wait till I get
Right.
home from work? So
Yeah,
before before I continue rambling, it's just it's something to consider for me for 2024 as I'm considering taking this job and then revisiting and reworking my schedule to stay consistently consistent for on
Yeah.
camera
right.
and voiceover.
If anybody can do that, I'm sure it's you, Joss.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, I'm like, well, that didn't work out today. Let's try it tomorrow.
Well, I was gonna say it's really I mean, it's really hard to know what's gonna work for you just because like we have a friend who recently lost their full time, right?
Yes.
You ever and weeks before that, me and this person were like, if only we could just lose our jobs and file
The
unemployment and
universe
do
answered.
voiceover.
Manifesting in the
And
finest.
this person obviously lost their full time, which is not great. Um, but they've been booking and shortlisting left and right,
Yeah.
you know.
Sometimes it's the cue, you know?
You gotta
You know?
follow the energy too. And when
Mhm.
Yeah.
an opportunity presents itself, you either can look at it from a negative standpoint or you can look at it from a positive standpoint. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna lie, I melted down about taking a real job because I felt like it was gonna take away from
I don't
everything
want to grow up.
my blood, sweat, and tears and money and time I put in the last couple years. It's like I will be able to manage the voiceover part. I won't be able to manage the on-camera part because of just the time, But
Mhm.
we'll see. I'm open to the possibility. I think that's another takeaway is being open to the possibility of things that come your way
Yeah.
and exploring each option. So
But also you have like this opportunity to meet people and network
network
one because
locally.
yeah.
True.
And then you can also practice like narration for fitness and like
Mhm.
that's
Absolutely.
definitely
That's true. That's true. Learning new life skills. It can
Mhm.
only
there you go.
be beneficial. So plus you need to
Exactly.
Yeah.
eat and pay bills. So
Yeah.
Lloyd, let's get to you
Okay.
and
Whew.
go.
My 2023. So I didn't realize this until actually we started recording. Uh, I have technically not been auditioning for a full year yet. Like I didn't start until like March,
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, okay.
Mhm.
which I makes me feel a little bit better about things.
Yeah.
But there was, the I got my demo and then I couldn't record because I moved, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so that was a whole stupid situation where
Mhm.
I had my demo and I really wasn't doing anything with it. I set up, profiles on Voices and Voices 1, 2, 3 and whatever, blah, 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 but couldn't really do anything with it. Then I got into auditioning and, I got to like, I can, and this is just because like my day job is so very heavy on editing, like I can pump out auditions like that. Right. So it's really just me finding the time to audition. And, I was like, okay, well, I'll try to get like, 15, 20 in a couple of hours, after I get off of work or whatever. But I started doing improv and we love improv so much. I let improv take on too much of a life of its own.
Right.
I was in multiple improv troupes and shows which required practices, before the shows. And then, there's the show times like those really took away from my time in the booth. Meanwhile, I booked my first audiobook, which was I guess in a really weird way, my biggest VO win this year, but
Mhm.
also it was
Yeah.
one of my biggest VO frustrations,
Mhm.
like the chronicles of me hating what I was doing. And then like I'm not going to say the name of the book because there was a point in which they wanted revisions and I quoted for revisions and then I just never heard back from them.
Oh.
They paid me for the book.
Oh.
Okay.
So,
Is it in the wild?
I don't know what happened. I can't I haven't checked recently.
Mm.
Um, but I booked the client through Voquent and they're amazing, they work super
Mhm.
well with people. And they were like, yeah, just when the client gets back to us, we'll let you know. And I've checked in, I'm like, no, we haven't heard anything. So,
I mean,
I've done my due diligence in
it could
that
be,
regard.
sometimes clients don't come back for months. It honestly can happen that
Yeah.
way. So you just never
Yeah.
know. But
It
I
was
mean,
just
as
weird
long as you
because
did
they
your
were
job and you got your paycheck, man.
Yeah, right.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
weird because they were like messaging me like within the hour a lot of the time, and then all of a sudden just nothing
Yeah.
when
You never
so,
know. Hopefully they're,
right.
I mean, they could have
Yeah,
blown up
hopefully
the
they're
earth.
okay,
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
but yeah, so that was my biggest VO win, I guess. And also my biggest frustration, but also kind of a big L as well because I never done audiobooks before and I didn't know what I was supposed to be quoted. So I quoted,
mhm.
at least 700 under what I should have,
Mhm.
Mm.
which
We've
is
all done that this year.
Yeah, and I think it's
Yeah.
just it's a newbie situation. You
Mm.
start out thinking like, oh, I gotta be competitive in my pricing, and when you realize how much work you're doing, you're realizing that, dang, I should have been, you know,
right. And when
pushing
you're
that price a
working,
little up a little bit.
it's always nice to have like people who you can reach out to,
Mhm.
who have those answers. And I did.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I didn't want to fall into the trap of I'm taking too long to respond to the client.
Mhm.
So I'm just going
Yeah.
to give them a quote. And then I gave them a quote. And then the person I reached out to was like double that minimum. And I was like, oh, well, I already sent it.
Son of a gun.
But
You know?
sometimes you have to like, there's certain clients that like you want the client to be on, you want to be able to have it as like a
Yeah.
client on your, credits list. And
Right.
sometimes it's worth it to, take less money. I mean, you have to weigh it out for your own self. That's like a pretty good, but audiobooks is a whole nother beast.
Yeah.
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 I mean, like, yeah,
Yeah. Audiobook. And then
that's like a
I
whole thing.
applied for the Penguin
Random House.
yeah, they have like an audiobook what I forget what it's called, apprenticeship thingy. I didn't get it, which sucked, but I was like, okay.
You
Just
didn't get
because
it yet.
Yeah, you did
well,
not yet.
it's a yearly thing. Am I gonna apply for it every year? We'll see.
You should. Why not?
Hey,
Yeah.
well,
if you learn from me, if you just
Mhm.
resubmit, wait 6
Why
months
not?
to a year, why not? Throw your
yeah,
hat in the ring
yeah.
if you want to do audiobooks.
Well, and it depends. I mean, I would like to do audiobooks that I like to do.
Yeah,
That
That
you
well,
want
experience
to
was a
do,
book I
yeah.
didn't even want to read.
Yeah.
That really has been kind of like VO for me, which is weird. Like so not to get super into things, right? But like I wasn't able to audition at the beginning of the year because I moved, right? And
yeah,
then I auditioned pretty hard. Time is so weird that like it was longer than I thought. Like I really auditioned for a shorter amount of time than I thought I had been auditioning. Then I got that. Then things just got really crazy with life just being so busy. And then I was like, okay, I need to slow down. And how do I do that? Right. Because I started working out, which like cool because I need to be healthy or whatever. But that was like, okay, that's another time thing.
mm-hmm,
When am I gonna have time to audition? And then
right.
I'm not gonna get into specifics, but I moved again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my mic wasn't plugged up until about an hour ago. Right.
Wow.
Just for the podcast.
Really cutting it to the wire, aren't you?
Yeah, no, like Jaws texted me and I looked at it. I was like, I don't have time to respond to this. I'm working on putting
Yeah.
everything together. But that's,
We're glad you're
just
here.
so much
Yeah.
stuff has happened life wise. Some of which is good, some of it was just like a lot, you know.
Yeah.
And so now I'm trying to like get to the point where I am so like
Or you can audition consistently.
where I can audition consistently, but in general, there's like your brain has like your cognitive load, right? Like
Mhm.
the amount of things you're thinking about at any given time. And you're not completely conscious of those things. And I have ADHD. So in my mind, I was like, I need to declutter both like physically and digitally.
Okay.
Because you walk into a room, especially if you have ADHD, if the room is dirty, you go to get in your bed, but on the way to your bed, your brain is
Oh,
like,
God.
don't think about the cup. Don't think about the shirt. Don't think about all of these different things. And that's taking away from your energy,
Mhm.
even though you're not
Mhm.
thinking about it.
Right.
So on top of moving and a cross-country trip and so much, I've just been like, I look at my phone, I'm like, why do I'm not looking at 700 notifications.
Right.
Oh, shit.
Bro, I
'Cause
feel you
I'm
all
in-
day.
I'm in so many group chats and like I have been going through my emails, both like my personal and work email, and just deleting thousands. Like I got my work email down to 27 in my inbox and 4 unread. I got my personal
Wow.
down to like 300 in my inbox and 56 unread. And I got to go to my backup email. There's like 7,000 I got to clean out of that. Then I got to go to my VO email.
My God. You know,
And-
if I were to put you in a cartoon character, you would be underwater with a straw poking out of the water, just breathing through the straw. That's what it
Yeah.
seems like. You're like at the surface.
And,
You're
and
barely
that's why,
there. You're
and that's
barely
why-
there, Lloyd.
yeah, doing all
Funny.
that and then trying to like make sure the apartment is and make sure stuff with the new apartment is good. I got an L desk for so here's the thing. I got a standing desk because
Nice.
I was like in my booth in my old apartment. I didn't have anywhere to bring my chair in,
Mhm.
right? And I also didn't have a place to comfortably stand the way that because I was using like one of those picnic tables.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the way that my mic stand is, it's one of the ones that has like the cramp,
You gotta,
it
you
would-
gotta hook it
Yeah.
onto the test.
and so it would bend into the table and the mic would lean forward.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so I would always have to I would have to get it into a place where it would stay, which was frustrating. And I was like, okay, what can I do to make my recording experience smoother
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and less frustrating when I'm here. So I don't know if you
No.
guys huh?
No, it's like an
What?
L-shaped desk that like moves up and
Yes.
down.
Yes. So
Oh, that's cool.
it is there's a desk right here and then like an arm that comes out right here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a standing desk that like comes up and down like, you know,
That's cool. Is it
like
motorized?
yes.
That's cool.
Oh, that's
Oh,
Um,
you
cool.
invested in your booth. Like that's
yeah.
that's a pretty penny right
Yeah.
there, Mr. Lloyd. Nice.
Oh, credit cards. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
I can only
I-
afford things right now that come from Target or Sam's Club because I have credit cards there.
I mean,
I mean,
Like,
that's why I'm trying to go to the
That's
health and wellness center because,
yeah.
yeah.
credit cards.
But I did that, and the thing was, I got the desk. It sat in my room for a month because I moved and
So the
we're
cups on the
trying.
floor.
No cups on the floor. I don't really bring food in my room. That was just an example.
I
But
know, I'm just joking.
my booth, the setup was too small. Like once I finally got the desk put together and ready to go, it's too small to get into the booth. So on Saturday, New Year's was Sunday, right?
I have no idea what day it is.
Yeah.
I don't even know what time it is.
On Saturday, there's like this frenzy where I'm like flying between like Lowe's and Ace Hardware. Couldn't make it to Harbor and Freight, but I'm like, where do I find more Schedule 40 PVC? Because I want my booth set up by the beginning.
mhm.
So I had to make my booth bigger.
Oh, cool.
And it was a 4x4, and now it's a 4x6.
That's really
Um,
cool.
Nice.
I still have to I still gotta like fix some blankets and actually like test the sound and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to move my computer farther away from the booth.
Yeah.
That's all part of it, though. You're still in your first
Mhm.
year of getting your demo and getting out there and getting going. And,
Yeah, it's
it
hard to
takes
remember that when you
time.
have stuff going on.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
also hard to not compare yourself to other people. Like I was explaining
Absolutely.
earlier, where you see people, starting after you or before you
Mhm.
or moving
Mm.
faster with less stuff that they're, less stuff to have to
Right.
do. It's hard. You just have to stay in your own lane and just keep doing you and
Yep.
keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Totally
That's another
agree.
takeaway.
But
Yeah.
you're doing it.
Yes, and you're
Trying.
making
And-
improvements
you're-
and you're investing in
yeah.
your business.
And I
You
bet that
remember when
booth
I had a
feels so much
mattress?
better. I know, right? You
Now
remember
I
that?
On the
actually have a
ceiling.
booth.
Look at that.
I bet your booth
I
feels
love
so
it.
much better though, because those 4x4s, that's a tight squeeze right there. And then
Yeah, I
especially
mean,
because you're animated and use your arms a bit, like that. I'm sure that was
Yeah.
not comfortable.
And you're pretty
Yeah.
tall.
Yeah, you
Well,
are
that's the
really
thing is
tall.
people don't understand, like if you're 5'2" and weigh 120 pounds, you have room in your booth.
Mhm.
I am
And a 4x4.
6'2" and weigh 355.
Yeah.
I can touch both ends of my booth with a little bit of room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need some
It's
room.
like and like
I feel like everything happens for reasons, the good stuff and the bad stuff. And even though you've had some tough stuff that you've had to move through, right, recently
Yeah.
that we can't go into grand detail, but like that also led you to where you are like right now.
Mm.
From the inside
Mhm.
out, you expanded your booth, you invested in your booth and got an L-shaped motorized desk to make it easier for you to be more comfortable. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Like maybe you wouldn't have put the desk together, maybe you wouldn't have expanded your booth. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Maybe you wouldn't have taken those extra steps if you hadn't gone through the couple different things you had to go through with the
Right.
life stuff outside of the booth. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. And
even the negative stuff that you have to move through can get you to the good stuff, right?
right.
Mhm.
Well, that's the
Definitely.
thing is like even like the reason I got the desk, there's two reasons I got the desk. One, because I was like, if I'm gonna take my booth apart, I don't want to put it together and be uncomfortable in it again.
Right.
And then Michelle, our friend Michelle, she has an L desk in her setup, and I like saw she made a post one time on Instagram. I was like, oh, your setup is so nice. I should get
Yeah.
an L desk.
I'm gonna get an L desk. Get
And so
on
I got the
Amazon
desk,
right now.
but it's just like I was telling my best friend, I am right now at the I'm like, I just gotta make more money because
Yeah.
I'm gonna
It's
die
tough.
if I don't make more money.
It's tough. It's tough.
you know. But that's just I'll spend something. I'm just like, I just have to book something that'll cover this. I just have to book something that'll cover this.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, you have to audition to do that. Goddamn.
And
Yeah.
and that's another thing going into 2024. I told myself, and Lloyd, you understand, you're like leading me right into it. It's like no longer do I want to just be putting stuff on a credit card. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course you have to invest in your business. You have to, whether it's credit card or you use your tap into your resources or you work full time and you're using setting aside money for a budget, to budget for, but you still have to invest in this business, right? But like
Right.
this going into Gabby and I are going to be going into our third year in the spring, right around March, April, when you're going into your second year.
Yeah.
And I'm at a point now where it's like, I don't want to have to rely on my credit card or dip into my resources anymore. Like I want to be able to sustain my business through what I'm booking. And so therefore it's really hard to dial things back and be like, I can only buy a class if I've made some
Right.
money, or I can only get an L desk if I've made X, Y, and Z money, So that's my goal for 2024 is to make sure that like I'm budgeting properly and that like if I just booked 2 commercials on camera. So now I have, money to pay for the things that are already outgoing, or I can set
Right.
aside some money to pay for coaching
Yeah.
or, upgrading something, right? So it's a constant struggle,
Definitely. And I think
Yeah.
it's just like that building process, when you're
Mhm.
first starting out. And I think all of us have a dream studio in mind for each of
Yes.
each of us. And eventually we're gonna have to get to that point. But it starts with the little things like an L-shaped desk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It starts small.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you a question though, Lloyd. I don't know about you, but I personally, when I'm like just chilling and I know I should be auditioning and I'm like listening to like the radio, or I hear a commercial on TV and I'm like, that was a good voiceover. I could do that. I could do that. Do you have those moments where you're like, God, I gotta get in the booth. I gotta get in the booth. I gotta get in the booth.
I am always, here's the thing, I'm always choosing between things.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like
Mm.
always, oh, I should be auditioning.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and another reason why I hadn't been auditioning, even outside of just being so busy, is that, and this is, so last week I watched TV twice, and like that was such a big deal. I was like, oh wow, I watched TV. And it's like, why is that such a big deal? It's because I don't ever give myself fucking time
Right.
for myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's like, there's also you're working a job, you're trying to build a business, you're trying to be healthy,
Mhm.
you're doing, improv. When are you giving yourself time? And the
Mhm.
answer was when I don't get enough sleep.
Mhm.
You know?
Right.
You
Right.
know?
It's interesting that you bring that up because that's a conversation that centers around my meltdown that I had this morning about my husband saying you should really take this job, and I was like, my time is my money too. It's like, it's like you spend time building things and working on things, but then there's all this life stuff that happens, and it's like now I'm gonna have to reconfigure everything. It's like, you know, your whole morning schedule. When are you going to fit in your auditions? When are you going to fit in working out, taking care of your body? Then you have to work. Then you have to come home. Then you have like, I'm sure like making dinner, right? You have
Mhm.
I have kids and dogs I have to take care
Cleaning.
of. There's a house that is here, like,
Right.
and so
Oh,
I
and then
think,
your husband too, your
oh
relationship.
yeah, I have my husband in a relationship. Yeah. So it is definitely a nice little balance that we all, with our own different individual like situations we've got going on. And I think like the key takeaway for me is time management. There is a way to do everything that you need to do. It's just a matter of, like Angela was saying, you're sitting on the couch watching TV and then you think, oh, I should be auditioning. Well, but
Right.
you also need to take care of you too. So if you
Mhm.
need time to
Mhm.
relax, so um yeah, I think the takeaway is just time management, and
Right.
if you're determined to do something, you'll find a way to make it happen,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
for each individual person with what you
To an
got
ex-
going on.
to an extent. I will
Oh
say
God, here comes the
to
voice of reason.
no, just to an extent, because when you're going overboard, you don't know what that is. And
Yes.
that's been my thing, is trying to find out like what things I can let go of to make that time for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ultimately it does come down to time management,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like, are you putting yourself in positions where other people depend on you to be,
Yes.
certain situations.
Yes.
You know,
People pleasing is a thing. Like I'm
Mhm.
trying to recover. I'm trying to become a recovered people pleaser. So like if I go work, I'm told my kids, example, what you're saying is I was like, on the days that I have to get up and go to work, I'm not driving you to school. And if you need a ride to school, your dad's gonna have to take you because I'm gonna have to be walking the dogs. And if you want to
Right.
make lunch, then you're gonna have to make your own lunch or you're gonna have to do school lunch. And by the way, if I'm not gonna be home till dinner time, you're
Right.
gonna have
Figure
to
it out.
you're gonna figure it
Yeah.
out. Like you're, you know,
Right.
like there's gonna and maybe 3 improv groups, maybe we should, whittle it down, right? Like,
Yeah. Well, I stepped back from one.
did you?
Yeah, I stepped back from one.
It's hard. It's hard to not do
I'm
everything.
in 2 troops, but one of those troops stepped back from doing monthly shows and is now really only doing shows that we get invited to,
Mm.
and then one that does a monthly show. So really only one monthly show and then another one that is like occasional shows,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is a drastic difference. But yeah, that's
I
a
think
whole
you're
thing.
doing great and you're
Yes.
doing
Yeah.
good. You're doing awesome.
You're
You have-
amazing.
Yeah. And just find time
One
to
step
start
at a time.
auditioning. Yes.
One step at a time.
You
That's it.
do.
Yeah.
You'll
Mhm.
get the flow. I'll get the flow. We'll get the flow together.
And the stuff you have booked, Lloyd, has been amazing.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
Yeah.
didn't listen to the audiobook, but I did listen to another one where I didn't expect that.
Oh my
and
Oh
god.
you were
yeah.
amazing.
Bow chicka bow wow.
The
Oh
things we
man.
thought we'd never do.
Funny thing,
Yep.
just a couple minutes ago you mentioned Jaws having to maintain her relationship. I am gonna have to figure out how my girlfriend feels about me doing roles like that because
Did you just say girlfriend?
I did.
I said,
But
girl.
Did you just say
Don't be so
girl
bashful.
friend?
I did.
no, I was just, that's a thing.
That's all. Well, at
You
least
think
that's
she'll
a-
be upset
also
with
a
you?
thing that happened.
Can we talk
Huh?
about that?
I don't
Because
know. That's
No.
a
You
conversation
you
she
on
and I are gonna
record
have to have.
saying
wait.
I
you
think
were
she
looking
likes
for
it.
the person, right? He was looking
Huh?
for you were waiting on like, when is it my time? When am I gonna meet someone? And now you have a girlfriend.
Yeah,
That
I'm
was-
always like, when am I gonna meet someone? Because people were like, "Oh, you're gonna be such a great husband one day," and I'm like, "Okay." I don't know when one day is because all
Well,
of my
one day's
relationships have
today.
been with women who couldn't, love me the same way back. But
Oh.
that's a whole. We're fine. I'm happy that they're doing okay.
Mhm.
We parted amicably. There were no hard feelings in those relationships. I am just, as my current, as she knows, a little, like,
Standoffish.
yeah,
And
like,
now you're in a
do I want to
relationship.
put myself entirely into this again? And
Mm,
then,
yeah, I
and
get
then
it.
once again, it's like, oh, yeah, so,
Another
Lloyd has a
situation. One step at
girlfriend.
a time, bro.
Yeah,
One step at a
at a
time.
One step at a
time.
You
time.
know, that's
Yeah.
how life should be running in
Yes.
2024.
But as far as me, that is probably a conversation I should have with that person because they're more reserved, I
Are
guess.
they?
Makes
Mhm.
sense. I mean, honestly, I think another takeaway and like another goal for 2024 is just making sure that you like kind of look at all the different areas of your life and then also just kind of making sure that you're matching the energy, right? That's coming to
Mm.
you. So if there's, you know what I'm saying, like matching the energy and then also following the energy as to
Yeah.
like what's coming to you. And then and time management and then also just, allowing things to unfold or like move through you. You know what I'm saying? Like I was in that book, The Artist's Way, I was listening to her and she was saying that like everybody's got creativity inside of them, but like, you just kind of have to like open yourself up and like allow it to like flow through you. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
just and I think that like for me, I'm recognizing my takeaway from 2023 and moving into 2024 is that like when I push for something, I get
Pushes
resist.
back a little bit.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
But if
pushes
I
back.
just like let go and don't think and just do and just be, it works
Starts
out.
flowing in. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I
On
see that.
multiple levels,
Mhm.
So enjoy
Yeah.
your time with your new girlfriend. And
Yeah.
this will have to be another conversation later after you get like approval. But I'm proud of everybody, because I think we've
Aw.
all come like a long
you.
way and we've all had our own like ups and downs and um yeah, I'm excited for everybody. So let's go through really quickly one goal for 2024. And then we're gonna wrap it up because I know, and I might do like a quick. I'll go
One
first.
goal. Yeah, go for it.
Or Lloyd, we'll go backwards. Lloyd, what's your one goal?
Oy. Well, it's audition more, but I don't know if I want to put a quantity on it.
Okay.
You know, but if it's just, that's not really a goal. That's like an ambition.
Well, that's a big goal. That's like everything.
Yeah, but it's not a quantifiable goal, right?
You're thinking too much.
I mean, it's easy
You're
to
not
audition.
flowing. There's no
more.
flow here.
Yeah,
Okay.
audition more.
Okay.
Make enough money to stop being like, oh, I can only afford things that are on the credit cards at the stores I shop at.
Exactly. I like that.
I mean, it's more than there's life reasons why that's a thing, but
okay.
Getting out of a hole.
Yes, I'm right there with you. My goal would be to add an additional agent from like the different quadrants of like the regional agents. Like I have one in LA, and then I'd also like to get an on-camera agent. And then just like consistently booking, you know what I'm saying? Like where maybe I don't have to get that regular job.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And having like reoccurring clients coming. So it's like a lot, I guess. But yeah. I did do an audiobook, Lloyd, this year.
Oh,
Yes.
I didn't see that.
Yes, I am doing an audiobook through TBAS. So
oh, wait, is it?
It's like a multiple one, yeah, which is
Cool.
like a whole thing. So
The mystery one, right?
yeah, it's a mafia one. So
Okay, it is that. Okay,
murder and
Murders.
mystery and crime.
Round circle.
That's
we're gonna come back to that after.
yes. Okay, Gabby, what's
I'm
your
gonna make a
one
note.
goal?
My one goal is to have you know what I don't have? My website. I don't have it up yet.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you should probably work on that.
It took, yeah, right? And the whole thing happened because the photographer had stuff coming up, and then the makeup
Life.
artist had stuff going up, and then growing.
Oh yeah, okay.
So we never really finished it, and then I talked to them, and so I have the photographer who's available, and the makeup artist. We gotta set dates, but I want to finally just put that out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get it done. Get it done.
All
The
right.
world needs that.
Yes, we need that. We're gonna hold
The world
you to it.
needs that.
Okay, yes.
All right,
And
Angela.
also,
Oh,
sorry,
No,
just one
go,
more.
go. I had multiple.
Continue having the translation services and
Very, very
Yeah.
cool.
That's cool that you're doing that.
so market that a little more.
Yes. I
That's
love
really
it.
cool.
For me, definitely audition more and just be more I don't know, I guess it sounds kind of cheesy, but like follow my dreams. Because, like I said earlier, like I'll be listening to, a commercial and I'm like, I can do that. Why am I not doing that? Like I need to follow what I want to do. And, not to say that I haven't accomplished stuff that I've, put ahead of myself, like, like landing a national and stuff like that. But,
Quaker
I
Oats.
still want to
Yeah.
be like a legit, cartoon or I still want to
Barista
be my
number one.
Pixie. Yeah, I want a Pixar voice or something. Like I just want that small thing. So just following those little nuggets for sure.
I swear to God, I heard you on like one of the video games my kids were like, playing, or it was like on a show or something like or something. And I was like, that's Angela.
Really?
But it wasn't you.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I did hear your Quaker Oat commercial.
Yeah.
Though, and I saw it on HGTV or whatever.
I did a video game one too for like some kind of mafia game as well, but it was I don't know if it was like a no offense, an Android game or something. Like something real hidden, something real way back in the woods,
You do know Androids and iPhones have the same games, right?
I'm just trying to put out. Never mind.
I just felt attacked for a second. I just wanted to.
I'm just
You know.
saying, like,
Android.
it seemed
I have an
very,
Android too.
very obscure. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
That's
hey,
funny.
it paid.
Yeah, it did. Pay.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was fun.
All
But I
right.
want more.
I know. I think we all do, but it takes time. I think one of our guests, Troy Holden, came on. He said it takes like 3 to 5 years to just plan on 3 to 5 years. So we have some cool guests coming on, and I'm really excited to I'm not going to share the the full list of guests because I don't want to I don't know. I'm being superstitious, but Final question. It's like a real quick round table. Who would you have the hardest time living with?
In
I
this group?
remember no, just in the
Oh, in general.
Angela.
like don't
Sorry.
don't think. Angela's like definitely Jocelyn. Probably not.
No, not even.
I'm just kidding. And like anything, like I just picked my random card. Remember, I always bring a random card. It just the first thing that pops in your head. Who would you have the hardest time living with? And for me, I just like a shark. Like shark just came into my head. I was like,
Oh.
I
A
don't want to
shark.
live with a shark. Like it could be anything random. Like it could
I
be
thought
like
I thought of my father-in-law, but
Oh yeah. I was like, my baby daddy? No.
yeah.
Would never. Would never.
I mean, immediately I was like serial killer, but probably my brothers.
back to the crime.
You know,
No.
yeah, probably my brothers.
I love how those are in the same
Serial
realm.
killer, family, you know.
You know.
You know.
I mean,
That's
all right.
hilarious.